Today is not a good day to be Donald Trump, his case in the New York criminal trial, or his relationship with Melania. Stormy Daniels has taken the stand and immediately began making news. Like, for example, according to CNN's Caitlin Collins, Daniels says that when Trump showed her a photo of Melania, she said she was beautiful. Trump said not to worry, we don't even sleep in the same room. Trump in the courtroom shook his head and muttered something to his legal team. As she said this, he appears increasingly irritated as she testifies. And yet, it gets worse. Daniels was asked, did he express any concern at that point about his wife finding out, to which she answered no. Doesn't exactly do Donald Trump any favors when his claim all along was that the hush money payout was to prevent his wife from finding out about the affair, as opposed to the truth, which was that he didn't want it to hurt him in the election. And then, of course, there are bits that aren't exactly not embarrassing for Trump, like Daniels being asked if their sexual encounter was brief, to which she replied simply, yes. And look, you may think that you've experienced embarrassment in your life, but chances are that you haven't had a sexual partner describe your encounter as brief on trial for the entire nation. But Daniels ultimately reveals the scarier portion of her relationship with Trump. She was contacted by In Touch magazine about her encounter with him after someone had allegedly sold them a story about her and Trump. She explained, I freaked out, I didn't know who leaked it, I said no at first, but then they said they're gonna run it anyway. They told her you can let someone make money off of you, or you can make sure that it's accurate. She ultimately agreed to do the interview and was supposed to be paid $15,000. She was then approached in a parking lot in Las Vegas by a man who, quote, threatened me not to continue to tell my story about my encounter with Mr. Trump. She then explained during her testimony that she was solely interested in making the whole thing go away. She'd gotten married, she had a child, she didn't want to be plagued by the Trump saga any longer. She would eventually come to find out that Trump and Michael Cohen were interested in buying the rights to her account, which she was glad about because she didn't want her husband to find out, and them buying the story would mean that it would go away. She testified that they would pay $130,000. She was asked how she felt about that number, to which she replied that she didn't care about the amount. It was just to get it done. The money didn't matter to me. I didn't pick a number. When asked why she didn't ask for more money, she replied, because I didn't care about the money. In other words, this was not some extortion scheme, nor was she looking for some big payday. She was just trying to protect her marriage and make this story and the drama that came with it go away. Stormy would then go on to describe the NDA, explaining that the beneficiary was Trump and that he was represented by Michael Cohen, with the terms of the NDA being that in exchange for the $130,000 that I could not tell my story, that he couldn't tell the story, no contact. We had to pretend that we didn't know each other at all, basically. And remember, all of this testimony is happening while Donald Trump still contends that they never even slept together. In other words, one of these people is clearly lying, and the jury will know that. So either Stormy Daniels is committing massive, endless perjury by giving a day-to-day account of her relationship with Trump and his payoff and the NDA, or it's Trump who's lying. The guy who told 30,000 lies in office and likely won't even take the stand because he is incapable of not spewing bullshit every time he opens his mouth. So yeah, take all the time you need with that one. And let's be clear, Trump was well aware that Stormy Daniels' testimony was going to be damaging. This morning, he'd taken to Truth Social, writing, I have just recently been told who is the witness today. This is unprecedented, no time for lawyers to prepare. No judge has ever run a trial in such a biased and partisan way. He is crooked and highly conflicted, even taking away my First Amendment rights. Now he's threatening me with jail, and they have no case. This according to virtually all legal scholars and experts. Why isn't the fake news media reporting this conflict? First of all, Trump's attorneys have had months to prepare for Stormy Daniels' testimony in a trial regarding Trump's hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. This isn't exactly a surprise witness. If his lawyers didn't prepare for Stormy Daniels in a case predicated on illegally coded payments to her, then he probably needs better lawyers. And second of all, the reason that Trump's attorneys didn't know who the witness would be today, even though again, they absolutely should have been prepared for Stormy Daniels at some point in this trial, was that their client, Donald Trump, has proven himself incapable of not attacking witnesses, and so his legal team no longer has the privilege of knowing exactly who's going to be called before the fact, because their client can't control himself. So if Trump is looking for someone to blame in all of this, he might want to consult a mirror. And look, if everything that Stormy Daniels said seems significant and damaging to Trump, that is the point. That right there is exactly why Trump engaged in this criminal scheme to secrete all of this in the first place, because he knew that it would hurt him with the general electorate ahead of the election. The exact reason why it's hurting him now is want Americans to know about it in 2016. We are getting a lesson in real time about the motivation behind Donald Trump's illegal behavior. And of course, he'll claim that it was to protect him from Melania. But again, refer back to the testimony that I discussed earlier. Daniels was asked, did he express any concern at that point about his wife finding out, to which she answered no. If Trump was only interested in protecting his marriage, first of all, he probably wouldn't be sleeping with porn stars, but second of all, he would have suggested as much. He would have exercised some discretion. Stormy testified that he would call her multiple times a week. She would visit him in public. She testified that she hung out with Trump and Ben Roethlisberger in a club. Not for nothing, but you generally don't do that when you're focused on protecting your relationship with your wife. Which tells us that no, Trump was not interested in protecting his relationship. The only thing he was interested in was burying the story once he realized it could hurt him in a presidential run, which is why he committed campaign finance violations and falsified his business records in service of those violations. So at this point, the jury will clearly be able to see that one of these people is lying, and they will know that that person is Trump. I asked my Legal Breakdown co-host Glenn Kirshner about the implications of the jury losing faith in someone, and here's what he had to say.
Once you have lost the faith and the confidence and the trust of the jurors, you're in real trouble because your arguments are not going to resonate with them. They're not going to give attorneys, the benefit of the doubt when they're making representations about what the evidence might prove or what a particular piece of evidence actually means. So I'm not saying all is lost and the jurors will just tune out to everything Donald Trump's defense attorneys have to say moving forward after they were caught in what was a misrepresentation in their opening statement. At least it didn't play out that way during the testimony of the witnesses. But, the one thing that prosecutors always keep a keen eye on, it is their reputation with the jury. That is, for example, why during opening statements, Brian, we'll stand up and we will expose all of the warts, all of the shortcomings, all of the weaknesses in our case. I would have been the first one to say, just as the prosecutors did, Michael Cohen has credibility problems, folks. He lied, including under oath. We're not going to try to hide that. We're not going to try to pull the wool over your eyes. But what we are going to do is bring to your attention all of the corroboration, all of the supporting evidence and the testimony of other witnesses, so you will not have to rely on Michael Cohen's word standing alone for anything. That's what you do because that builds credibility with the jurors. And once they realize that the prosecutors are honest brokers of the facts and the law, warts and all, boy, that goes a long way when you're standing up in closing argument and rebuttal argument, urging them that the evidence really did prove Donald Trump's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And we are asking that you return a verdict of guilty simply to hold him accountable for the crimes he decided to commit.
So Trump's uphill battle just got a whole lot steeper. And when you add in the fact that the very information he was looking to hide just got exposed to the entire world, Americans will know exactly who he is ahead of November's election. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to this channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.